I tell my students, they like to do this. I've had 10 questions, and 6 of them were A. I got too many A's. I better pick a B. I don't know what the answer is. In fact, I think the answer is A, but I'm gonna pick B because I had too many A's. No, they might all be A's, because I've made them alphabetical, so the answer just is what it is. We have an organ systems-based curriculum for our first-year students. So they have basic principles, they have organ systems 1 and 2 and 3. So for example, when they're learning about the cardiovascular system, they're learning the anatomy of the heart, the histology of the heart and blood vessels, the physiology of the cardiovascular system, etc., all at the same time. In the second year, the pathophysiology course coordinates with the other second-year courses so that when pathology is teaching the heart, pathophys is teaching the heart. Pharmacology is teaching cardiovascular drugs, micro is teaching infections of the heart. We talked about writing objectives, SMART objectives. Simple, measurable, achievable or attainable, realistic or relevant, and time limited. We then emphasized that our objectives must be the basis of what we teach our students so that they know what we want them to learn. The objectives are also the basis of our exams. We ask them only things that are in the objectives. We talked about writing exam questions, quality exam questions, especially case-based. Fact-based questions do have a role, but case-based questions do not involve simple recall. Case-based questions require you to think, to reason, and that's what we want our students to be able to do. These things that we talked about in both days are applicable to all disciplines: public health, medicine and dentistry, veterinary medicine, allied health, and pharmacy. These techniques for teaching and these techniques for writing exam questions and objectives are applicable to all. We wanted the sessions to be interactive themselves and integrated, so we insisted everybody had to sit at tables with colleagues who were not in the same school, and if they were in the same school, not in the same discipline. We wanted you to work together in teams to break down silos. We made it active learning. You had to actually write a case, and each table presented their case. You had to write 2 SMART objectives, and you had to write 2 case-based exam questions based on the objectives that you wrote. And then each table had an opportunity to present what they had written and to be critiqued by their colleagues. We wanted everything to be integrated, case-based, and active learning.
Implementation is key to the success of every project, but how you plan your implementation determines whether you would be successful or not. The buy-in of leadership to every implementation project and the provision of the resources that will be required for the implementation are also key to the success of every project. For this particular project, we have the commitment of the leadership from the provost, from the pro-vice chancellor, and all the leadership of the various schools are actively committed to providing the resources necessary to make this project succeed. We've gathered from all the faculty the high level of enthusiasm that they've bought the ideas that we've provided, and the ability and their commitment to be able to work not only in silos, but also walk across the aisles to collaborate with various faculty from various schools within the college to be able to collaborate and make this whole process an integrative process. So the implementation, we have suggested that it gets carried out in phases, because you don't want to rush into anything. You start with a set of goals in mind, and then you go to the next phase, which is the planning phase. We've advocated for champions across all the institutions. They've been identified, and these champions will be working together across the various institutions, across the various departments, to be able to come together and have very specific, realistic, measurable, and time-bound objectives that they want to be able to achieve to make this work. Out of this, they are going to select metrics that they are going to use to assess the success of whatever they are going to implement, and then they are going to work together to put together a curriculum that is integrated, a curriculum that is case-based, a curriculum that at the end of the day educates the student, not just teaching, but educates the student, because we want to be able to get health professionals who at the end of the day will be able to provide quality health to our patients and our population, so that we will have a very healthy population at the end of the day. And then after they have mapped out the activities that they are going to use and implement, then they are going to pilot these activities. We're going to work with them even when we go back, and then together we'll be able to moderate how these will be implemented. We'll be able to evaluate at the end of the day whether some of these intermediate goals have been achieved or not. If there are any gaps that have been identified, any barriers, we'll be able to identify them and then come up with plans to be able to address these barriers as well. We are very highly optimistic that, given the enthusiasm that we've seen here, this will work. Quality education is key, and we will be able to attain quality education for our students. Thank you.
Now, it is very important for us to be able to share some of the advantages of integrated learning to our friends, the University of Science and Technology, Kumasi. This particular retreat, we have benefited quite a bit dealing with some of the issues relating to course integration, which includes case-based learning, team-based learning, active learning. And we learned that a lot of our faculty leaders support this idea that will enhance teaching and learning in our institutions. We found a number of challenges, a number of barriers to implementing such an approach, especially the class sizes at the university appear to be a distractor. However, we're working with the leadership to develop new strategies that will enable them to implement these specific strategies by having small groups, maybe even with scribes and with representatives that will then manage this approach in learning and teaching. The other issue which came up was about essays and multiple choice questions and exams. And we also worked with our leadership here to be able to find ways in which they could integrate both essays and multiple choice questions in their exams. And we feel that with these approaches, integrating the classes, the courses, will really enable learning to be enhanced in institutions. And we believe that in the future, many other departments and many other faculty will also participate in this, and we believe that learning will be enhanced. Thank you.